Hello, welcome to Going Native, the interview series where I, Neil Stokes, interview Catalans in English. And today I've got two guests today, two very interesting people, pianists, both of them, a married couple, and well, they'll tell their own story in a moment. But let me introduce you to Sofia and Carlos Lama.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I always start the program a little bit with people explaining a little bit what their connection with English is, because it's an unusual thing to be doing an interview in English here in Catalonia with Catalan people. What about you two? Where did you learn your English? How did you get to this point?
Well, we had to learn English because in a point of our studies we decided to go to United States and we had to learn it. But since we got a scholarship and it was like kind of quick, we only had 1 year to learn it here and then we learned it there.
When you went, did you have any English when you went, or was it completely new to you?
1 year of,
Oh, okay.
of English school, because we are from a generation where when we learned French at
course.
school when we were child, so
Yeah.
we didn't speak any English, but we went to an English school before leaving and then we learned it there.
But at least you learned it sort of using it, no, in the place,
Yes.
which is always the best way, I think, no?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of course, we probably make mistakes and we have our own accent, but it's the only way you really learn a language and
To be able to use it. Like they
Yes.
said. Is it a similar story for you, Carlos?
Yes. It's the same. I studied French at the school and finally arrived there, and we learned English in the supermarket with a lot of funny stories, of course. At the university, which is difficult sometimes because the universities are places where students are from abroad, so you can speak many languages. Yeah, so at the university we were speaking Italian or French or Spanish or Catalan too. Yeah? And but finally you used to, and with the television, newspapers, and with the work there, finally you are on.
Yeah, well, I suppose you have to, because as we'll talk about in a moment, you have to travel a lot for your job, musicians, concerts, or, you know, teaching the music, everything. So I suppose you're using English a lot, I imagine, no, throughout the year, it being
yes, of course now.
with the travel especially.
Yeah. Before we were talking about when we were students, so we were really young and we were starting our career of concerts, but now, after so many years and traveling all over the place, you realize that everybody speaks English, so
Well,
you need it.
We'll see. We'll get into that in a moment. I wanted to ask you first, though, the piano, okay? Because you're both pianists. You play together, in fact. And in fact, one of the most interesting things about you as a couple is that you play four-hands piano. There's two people on one piano, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But the piano as an instrument, is that like a special instrument? Because I don't know anything about music, but I get that impression that the piano is like a superior instrument or something. No, it's the instrument that everyone seems to use for everything, and it's the one. It's like the ideal sort of musical instrument. Is there any truth to that?
Yes, it's true. The piano is a harmonic instrument. So, and harmony, the chords, give you the feeling normally of the music. So, if you play harmonically, you are powerful when you are transmitting the feelings to the audience. Yeah. So the piano, you can do everything. You can play symphonies, you can play opera transcriptions, lieder transcriptions, song transcriptions. You have the original repertoire, and you can play modern music, whatever.
Yeah. So it's like super versatile as an instrument.
Yes.
It can do all of those. And they haven't changed. That's the other thing, no? Because, I mean, everything in our life is different now with technology and so on. But the piano is still basically the piano, no? The piano that you play, I suppose, is it any different than a piano that a pianist in the 19th century would be playing very much, or not?
Just a little.
Details.
Yeah.
Yes, little details like mechanism and probably the sound and the woods used, but not really the piano itself. I mean, from the 19th century, it's the same.
Right.
So
And what about this thing about playing, two people playing one piano, and not doing it like in a party to amuse people, but doing it as a serious musical endeavor? No, can you tell me a little bit about that whole process of two people playing one piano? How does that work?
This is magic.
It seems magic to me, because I don't know how you do that. It's crazy.
Because people, first, they think that it's a question to be together, and it's not. It's a question to feel together. Yeah? So you must feel the music in the same way. You must breathe at the same time. You must understand the tension, the drama of the music. So this kind of relationship have to be almost quantic. Yeah, I mean, you have one particle here, one other here, and if you do this, it's the same. Yeah,
right.
And this is a thing that you cannot have practicing. Yeah? It's a thing that you have or you don't have. If you practice, it will be better.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
But that's why many pianists, they cannot play together. Yeah, because they feel in different way, and it's difficult. Yeah?
So if you talk to concert pianists of a high level and just threw them together on one piano, they wouldn't necessarily be able to do it. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Right, that's
and most of them, they recognize it. I mean, they say, I'm not able to play with anyone else besides me.
Wow. And when you're doing that, how does it feel? Is each of you concentrating on your own little thing and you're aware of the other person, or is it like a sort of you're super connected when you're playing? How does it feel?
I think this is the secret, to be super connected and to have this symbiosis, and you feel like a big one pianist.
Right. So it's like just like one big organism, the piano and the two people.
It's like being in the same boat and surfing the music.
Okay. So how did you get to that point? I mean, did you realize that from the beginning that, four hands piano is for us, or was it something that you found out later?
It came like an accident. I mean, my piano teacher was used to prepare a festival at the end of the year, and all of her students, we played there, and one after the other, etc. And then one day she said, "Oh, this year I would like to try something different. I'd like me, to play with another guy. It's not my student, but he plays very well, and I think you could play couple of pieces together, and this will make a nice end of party." And we started playing together, and I must say it was magic. I mean, it was like something
there was a special feeling
that only happens once in a million times. That it was like, wow, what an experience. And from then we started playing together, and we wanted to deep inside and to specialize in repertoire for four hands, which is huge. And we decided to make our life from this.
It's interesting. So because you're a married couple as well, did the piano come first, or the relationship? Or at the same time?
The piano was
the piano first. So you can maybe, the piano is to thank maybe for you falling in love or something like that. I don't know, maybe. But I was going to ask though as well, because you also do play individual piano with orchestras as well. No, but the four hands piano is the thing you prefer doing though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Because it's closer.
Right. And what about the demand for that? I mean, when you play four hands piano, is that something that it's an unusual thing, but is it something that there's a lot of call for that? A lot of people are asking for that, or is it often these specialities that they've got a small audience, because they're specialized. And how does it work?
I think the audience is completely prepared to listen.
They go specifically because they know they want to see four hands piano?
No, they are prepared to understand and to enjoy a concert. Yeah, but sometimes the first impression is like the four hands is like only for friends who are playing a little bit. Yeah, and maybe this is a break. yeah, to bring audience to the four hands piano recital. Yeah, fortunately, and we are working hard for the recognition of this genre of music.
Yeah.
Because you can play. It is really difficult because when you are alone on your piano, you can play with all the fingering, but if you only have your part, you have to arrange the fingering. You cannot play with all the hand, only with these fingers, because you cannot bother the other pianist.
Of course.
So it's not so easy. And finally, it must sound completely flexible and artistic, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
So when four hands is serious, it can be very dramatic, very bright, and very impressive for audience.
And so it's quite technical as well, of course, because if you're having to, you need the other person, as you were saying, to have that special feeling that you can trust that person is going to do things that you need to do to be able to finish your part. And composing, do you compose for that, or do you prefer to play other people's music?
We prefer to play, yes.
And
I mean, we would know how to compose.
Of course,
but
yeah.
We prefer to perform.
So when somebody composes music for you, then how involved in the process are you, or is it something that also composing for four hands, is that different than composing for a single pianist as well, of course? So the person composing the music needs to understand how it works as well, I suppose, no?
Yes, they must know how to do it.
Yeah.
And not all composers they know. But we are lucky because we have many composers who are working for us, and we are involved in the beginning. And it's very nice because when you perform some piece from that composer, it's like you don't know, but when you finally have your composer, you can ask directly, what do you think? It's a fantastic feeling.
To be involved in that process, that's good, yeah. But anyway, let's go back a little bit, because you said you studied in the States, you studied music in the States, you studied in Paris as well, Carlos, you were telling me earlier, both of you, no?
Yeah.
And so when did you start professionally then together?
Back in 1987.
Okay, wow.
Which is quite a lot.
Yeah. And how did you start? In what sense did you making that decision to go professional? Was it a sort of an accident, or was it did you have a plan about what to do? And then how were the early years? Did you find was it difficult to establish yourselves, or did you find it easy because you're doing something special, or how did it work?
I think the musician life is always very difficult.
Yeah.
And when you pass to play, to be a student, to be a professional, it's a really very, very hard transition. Yeah. Thank you. And it was hard for us, like for everybody, I think. And we try and we work. But if you are a hard worker, if you are confident, finally you can find your way.
Right. And that seems to be true, because I was looking at the places you've played, and you have literally played all over the world in some incredibly famous places, Carnegie Hall, places like this. No, I saw you played in Shanghai, I saw as well, and so on. So what about the travel and the playing abroad, doing concerts abroad in these places, and then these are magnificent concert halls, and so can you tell me a little bit about that, how it feels and what your favorites are and so on?
Well, that's one of the amazing parts of our lives.
Yes.
Not only for the halls or for the cities, but also for the people we meet, because every country is different, and you get a vision of different cultures, different people, different attitudes, and I think it's very rich, and it gives us a lot, and it's incredible. I mean,
is there a place that you particularly like, that you always like going back to?
Well, I particularly liked St. Petersburg. This was the city of my dreams, and the public there is really nice, and the halls are incredible, and the culture for music is also incredible.
It's very strong, no? The classical music culture in Eastern Europe in general, in Russia, I suppose, in particular.
But of course, you cannot say you have a preference, because I said, everything is different, and it gives us something different and something that opens your mind and makes you think.
And when you're preparing for one of these big, because you were telling me before, Carlos, that you're going to go back to St. Petersburg soon for an important concert in the new year, no?
Yeah.
You can tell me about that in a minute. I just got a question, which was preparing for that. Is that a long process of months or weeks, or how long does it take, and how much effort does it need to prepare that one day when you're going to go there? You've got, you know, hundreds of people watching you and so on.
I don't think we need a special process.
No.
I mean, in terms of study, practicing, because normally it's a repertoire, it's the pieces that we know. Yeah, we play it. Yeah, it's most the emotion. Yeah, if you have to go to one of these big places like Carnegie Hall or like St. Petersburg, the Catherine Palace, you are thinking many months before. Yeah, and you're preparing spiritually, I think. But every concert is a journey. It's every concert is a special. For example, we like very much to play in these big places, but we like very much to play in the small places, because people are people everywhere in the world. And in everywhere in the world you can find fantastic people and people who are waiting with an open mind, who are waiting you there. And I don't know. With people, it's not different. People are people.
Well, it must be a great feeling to, whether you're a musician or maybe an actor or so, but just to go out and know that all these people in front of you have come, made a special trip, have paid money, and they are here to see you and no one else, that they've come especially to see you. It must be a great feeling, that. I've never experienced that. Is that part of the attraction of being a performer?
Yes. Perform in public is a very strong experience. And when you're used to that, you need that.
Yeah, okay.
And
it becomes addictive or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because, of course, make people happy is one of the biggest treasure we have in life.
Of course,
Yeah? And we are lucky that people pay us to do this. Yeah? And so that's why we think we are so lucky in our life. Yeah.
Great. And you were telling me that as well, that you've got a new record out soon in the new year. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Precisely, is our next CD is called Carnegie Hall Recital, because this was also one of our dreams to play at Carnegie Hall, and when this happens, you are so fulfilled. And we made a CD out of the repertoire we played there, and it's coming out next February.
Yes.
On February 2015.
Great. Well, that's. And where can people, if people want to try your music, what's the best place to look?
I think
your
internet.
website or something. Yeah.
Yes.
You have a website.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the address of the website in case anybody wants to?
It's very difficult. It's carlosandsofia.com.
Oh, even I remember that. Okay. Yeah. Well, then let's hope that people will. I certainly will, because before this interview, I was looking at your stuff, and there's plenty. You've got plenty of things up there to look at, and I'll definitely be going back and listening to that and so on. Well, thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Sofia, for coming today.
Thanks to you.
It's been very interesting. I hope we see you back again in the future, or in between your travels. That would be great to catch up again, and maybe even next time we could have a little bit of a clip of you performing so people could see.
Yeah, why not? With pleasure.
Good luck with St. Petersburg and with the new record.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. This has been Going Native. I'm Neil Stokes. See you next week.